Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Yaka.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another season of Badass Mother Hustler. Today, I'm chatting with Badass Mother Hustler, Melissa Armstrong. She's the mom of two boys, age 8 and 4, and the owner of Holistic Health, LLC. What's going on?
Hi, Maddie. I'm so happy to be here and chat with you today.
I'm so excited to chat with you. We had our little intro call not long ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, stop telling me everything. I want to save it for the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your family, where you're from, and what you like to do?
Sure. Yeah. So I am Melissa, obviously. I am the wife to my best friend. I've been married to him now, 11 years. We've been together 22 years. My boys are 8 and 4, and we live in northern Colorado. We love to do all things, as you would expect in Colorado, all things outdoor. So camping, hiking, fishing, biking. We do a lot of those things, more so in the summertime. Hopefully with my youngest getting a little bit older, we should be able to do a little bit more stuff in the winter as well. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, when we chatted on the phone, you were getting ready, you had everything packed up and you were going to go camping for the weekend, but
Yeah.
you were doing like the rough camping, like going out and finding your own spot, like off the beaten path, right?
Yeah, dispersed camping. We love to do dispersed camping. So like finding, the most isolated area untouched in the Rocky Mountains is one of our favorite things to do. Around nobody, no lights, no, city noises, nothing. Off the beaten path for sure.
Yes. So do you go
Bear
in?
country.
Yeah. Do you go into the national park or are you just
You
off
can't
the skirts?
Yeah, you can't camp in the national park. But yeah, I mean, we do often. Rocky Mountain National Park is a great place to go hiking and fishing, and they've so much to do up there. But yeah, for camping, not in there.
And you said bear country. So the first time I was out west was on a road trip with my husband when we had just graduated college, and we left Pennsylvania, headed towards California, kind of did a loop. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park, but it was funny because we had to buy bear spray, and that was like the first time I ever had to do that. And it's massive. It is so big. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Gotta have bear spray when you're out in bear country.
Yeah.
And or a rifle.
Yes, very true. So tell me, does entrepreneurship run in your family?
Not at all. I am actually shocked sometimes at my life's path and how I wound up here. Not at all.
Yeah. How long have you had holistic health for?
I opened my practice early January 2023, early last year. But I've really kind of been in the works of opening it for, several years. I've been a nurse for 14 years. And I kind of knew from a very early stage in my career that the traditional nursing path, working in like a hospital or clinic or something, really wasn't what I wanted to do. And I wanted to help people in a different way. So that really, started getting even more clear in the last 5 years. I've really decided okay, I really want to have the freedom and flexibility in my schedule. I want to be able to be home with my kids. As I was about to have my second child, I knew I wanted to be able to be home with him more. And so I've kind of been working towards this goal for the last several years.
So for a while, you've thought about being an entrepreneur and you said you were working towards it. So what made you finally decide to pull the trigger and do it?
I love that question. Well, I think it was kind of divine timing. There was a series of events that happened where I left the job. I was working in like a holistic clinic slash chiropractor. And I had a really incredible opportunity to work for somebody who I really trusted and I thought knew really well. And to do kind of more of like the coaching and kind of run my own thing within her clinic. And it turned out to be very much not what I thought. And yeah, it just really, within a matter of weeks, I knew it. It was like, okay, this is like, there was a smoke screen. This is totally not what I thought. I can't do this. There was some, she was kind of verbally berating me and it was just bad. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done working for other people. I want to do my own thing. And I think that was all kind of the part of the process. Like I had to really I don't know if I would have left my other job. Unless I had something really incredible. Like I wouldn't have left that job just to open my own business. It was too scary.
Yes.
It had to be something like really incredible where she was going to pay me twice as much. The hours were going to be better. It was like this amazing opportunity. There was no way I could pass it up. And then when it turned out to not be true, I was like, well, crap.
You're like, okay, so what do I do now? I'm not going back to the other job. So let me just give it a go.
Yeah. And I already knew I didn't want to work in the hospital. And I had already been certified in holistic medicine, functional medicine, all of that. I had done all the education. I had everything like kind of, I knew what I wanted to do. It was just about really like going full force. I had already opened my practice. I just wasn't really like investing a whole lot of time. I kind of felt like, I was working full time, had 2 little kids. And then that happened with that job. And I told my husband, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to open my own business. And he's like, okay, what are you waiting for?
That's awesome. That's like what my husband said too. I was like, I'm not going to go back to teaching. I'm just going to go into real estate full time. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought you should have done in the first place.
Yeah. It's so great having supportive husbands. Yeah.
Yeah. So what were some things along the way while you were nursing that you were thinking about and gave you the ideas of like, I feel like I want to do my own thing?
I love that question too. You're full of good questions, Maddie.
That's why, like, when I talk with people on the phone, I'm like, I don't want a deep conversation. I want to save it for when we sit down for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think so. First, I want to say like there's a time and a place for traditional medicine, ICUs, ORs, ERs, like all super important. Thank God for modern medicine and antibiotics and all, like surgery when you need it and all of those things. But I felt like from the very beginning of my career, I felt like I was a part of something that just is not good at really helping people truly be well. For instance, I had lots of experiences where patients would come in newly diagnosed diabetics, and we would just put them on insulin and send them home. Have no conversations about diet and exercise. Like, did you know you could cure diabetes with diet and exercise? That never came up. And I remember being like, well, wait a second, like, aren't we supposed to be like educating people and empowering them to be healthy? Like why? And it just felt like we were always just giving people pills and not really truly healing people, just giving them pills. And then they'd come back with, a myriad of other symptoms and like, okay, we'll just give you another pill, or, oh, that didn't work. Let's try this one. And it was like, well, why aren't we getting to the root of the issue and actually like fixing the thing that's causing the symptoms instead of just giving them a pill that's causing other symptoms? And it was just kind of an evolution from there, like from the very beginning. And I can give you dozens of examples of things that happened where I was like, okay, yeah, this is just not aligning with what I thought I was going to be doing and what I think my calling is.
So you were having, I mean, at first, I'm sure you really enjoyed going to your job and then just kind of seeing that over and over again and what you believed in. Was it like, I'm waking up and going to this job again?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Initially, like I started my career in a pediatric ICU, and I loved that job. Like I worked my butt off in nursing school to get that job. There was two of us out of like 500 applicants
Wow.
that got that. Maybe not 500, it might have been like 300.
That's
But
still a
still
lot.
it was a lot, and I got one of the positions, and I really thought I would be there forever. And really truly, like, that type of work is like you have to just be a special person to do that kind of work, because the stuff that you see is you can't unsee it. But
Yeah.
there's nothing like being a part of a team that literally brings a child back from the brink of death. Like there's times where we saw kids get hit by cars or like crazy accidents where you're like, okay, this kid's going to die. And you guys work together as a team for 2, 3, 4 hours, and the kid walks out of the ICU 4 weeks later or something crazy. Like it gives me chills. Like
I have
just,
chills right
yeah,
now.
there's nothing like bringing a child back from the brink of death. And that's why I say, like, thank God for ICUs, ORs, and all of that. I just felt like first of all, it was really traumatic. You can't unsee that stuff. And for me and my own history and my own personality, it was just re-traumatizing me after a lifetime of trauma myself. And then it just wasn't aligning with what I felt like my calling on this earth is.
So, how did you then turn to the holistic stuff? And when did you start feeling that calling?
Yeah, so I think I always kind of felt it, from the beginning. My going back a little bit, like my childhood was really traumatic. My parents were addicts, they were abusive. I had lots of things happen in my early childhood. My parents divorced, my mom was verbally abusive, emotionally unavailable. I survived a school shooting when I was 15, and then when I was 18, my brother was killed traumatically right in front of me. And it so from the birth to 18, I had like trauma after trauma after trauma. When my brother died at 18 was really when I was like, oh my gosh, like nursing, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to help. After he was in the ICU for almost 48 hours while we worked to donate his organs and all of that. And the nurses are angels on earth. And I felt like that's what I wanted to do, was help people in that way. And so I declared nursing as my major. I was simultaneously dealing with a lot of obviously emotional symptoms, panic, stress, trauma, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, all of the things, which I wasn't actually fixing. I was, I was given pills. I was not,
Band-Aids.
yeah. And so I started to develop a lot of physical symptoms in my early 20s. And, I'd wake up head to toe in rashes, and and I would go to the doctor, like go to urgent care, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what it is. Like, here's a steroid. This will get rid of it. And I'm like, okay, but like, it keeps happening. What's happening? You know? And they weren't addressing it. So I was really kind of like failed as a patient in that system. And, I started to realize in my early 20s, I was probably about 24, and I had just become a nurse, and my now husband, then boyfriend, suggested to me that I try meditation. He said, I was having panic attacks, like so bad, just debilitating panic attacks. And he said to me, I feel like you should, like, very lovingly, he's like, you should just like calm down a little bit. If you could just calm down, you'd probably feel a lot better. And have you ever tried meditation? And so I did, and it worked, and I felt calm and peace. And that really triggered a intense desire to seek answers about, first, like, why is meditation working? Why
Yeah.
are we not telling other people about this? Why, like, we never talked about like stress management and all of that, like we didn't talk about lifestyle. We didn't. And that just opened kind of a whole other realm of care that I didn't really realize was available. In nursing school, they talk about holistic. The term holistic just means like a whole person approach. they say nursing is holistic, and in many ways it is. But when you're a nurse in a conventional system that's beholden to the pharmaceutical and insurance industries that are for-profit businesses, you're really stuck in a system that's not going to allow you to practice holistically, because holistically doesn't make any money. Frankly, when you get people well, they don't make any money.
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I never went the holistic route, but I've mentioned on the podcast numerous times that he had debilitating migraines that were like stroke symptoms. And we finally, after seeing different doctors, getting different medications, went the holistic route, and he changed his diet and went on supplements and started, I mean, we're active people, but he started doing more exercise, and they have calmed down a lot. They're not like they were before, and he gets them maybe once or twice a month, but what triggers it now is stress.
Yeah, I was just going to say stress. It's so crazy, like how much we don't talk about stress. They say 95% of illness is either caused by or worsened by stress. So if it's that common, like, why are we not talking about it? Everybody should be talking about stress management, and like creating a culture, like this culture that we live in that's just like hustle, 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 go, go, go. Like if you take a break, you're weak. Like that is just it's not conducive to true health.
I have had a Garmin watch for this July will be 2 years, and I never really thought anything of it, but recently I decided to take it off, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Like, I'm not getting pings of Instagram and Facebook, and I mean, I don't need to see everything that's coming through on my phone all the time. Even though I'm in real estate and need to be on top of everything, it's okay if I take an hour to
5
get back to
minutes.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, I just said to my husband this morning, "It's been amazing. I don't think I'll ever put that watch on again."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, can you give everyone an idea of what your business is like, how you help people or why people would come to you for help?
Yeah, so I help women. So as I talked about earlier, my story is really rooted in a lot of like trauma and stress that was unhealed that resulted in physical symptoms. And it wasn't until I addressed the emotional aspect and that connection between my mind and my body that I actually started healing the physical symptoms that were coming, that were happening in my body. So I help women uh, really heal their whole mind, body, and spirit, from trauma and the physical manifestations associated with that unhealed trauma and chronic stress. I use specialty functional medicine lab testing. So it's always functional medicine is like a root cause approach. What is causing these symptoms? I use lab testing to help identify the imbalances within the body, and I help really do everything that you were just saying with your husband, like lifestyle modifications, diet education, detoxification, like all of the holistic, like natural things that we can do to improve our health and help people, first of all, understand it, because there's so much noise. There's like, you never know what to believe anymore, but just like breaking it down and helping people interpret, like what's best for me might not be what's best for you. Like, here's the information, here's the reasons behind this. And like, you take that information and you make the best decision for you, because only you can do that. And really just empowering women to be their own advocates and heal mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you have this business when you had your second? No, you started in 2023.
Yep.
Yep.
And he was born 2020. So
Yeah. So, what was it like starting a business with two small children?
it's been a whirlwind. I'll tell you what, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely, there's definitely sacrifices, and it's a give and a take. I think balance is like a facade. I don't think
Yeah.
that the balance truly exists. I think there's different seasons where you are showing up maybe more or better or something in one aspect of your life than others. I try to be really intentional with my time. But yeah, it's hard. It's been a learning curve having a business. And my husband is a contractor. He owns his own business. He's done that for 9 years. So it's been a little bit, I feel like I've had a little bit of a leg up because I kind of already knew I helped him build his business. So not that I did any of the work. I was around. I'll say
Yeah.
that. I was around when he built his business. So I kind of understood some of the entrepreneur, the nuances of being an entrepreneur. But yeah, it's been a learning curve.
What does a typical day look like for you with the kids in your business?
Um, well, right now it's summertime, so it's a little bit different. But generally, my youngest is in school half day, 3 days a week. So that's generally when I do like the most of my client calls. I do one-on-one coaching and I have a group coaching program. So I'll do all of my like calls during that time typically. Sometimes I'll do them like after my kids get home when my husband's home. He's again a contractor, so he makes his own schedule. So if he's home, I can sometimes schedule stuff in the evening and he can be home for that. But that's when I try to keep all of my calls. And then outside of that, I'll, do work here and there when the kids are occupied. But I have to be really intentional with my time because, I can't sit down at the computer for 2 hours when my 4-year-old's home. I have to, I might get 15, 20, 30 minutes if I'm lucky. But I always want to be there to drop them off at school and pick them up from school. And then when they're home, when they're both home in the afternoons, evenings, I try to just let that be family time, like where I'm fully devoted to them and not working on my business. Right now, because it's summertime and they're both home full time, I have a sitter who's helping me.
Yeah, I feel like entrepreneur moms really know how to get the most bang for their time when it comes to 30 minutes. Like I can shove in so
Yeah.
much in 30 minutes whereas
Yeah.
if you didn't have just that small slither, it might be like do 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 do. I'm just going to drag tasks on, but we
Yep.
just get them done.
Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes it's like really, like I said, sacrifices. Like I preach and teach my clients a lot about like taking care of themselves and making sure you're getting good sleep and all of this. But like, truth be told, like sometimes I don't get 8 hours of sleep every night because sometimes I have to stay up late and work on a protocol after the kids are in bed because it's more important for me to be present with them and have dinner with them than it is for me to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. I wish I could go to bed at 9 o'clock every night, but sometimes I have to stay up till midnight. And then I just do my best and I know how to take care of myself that next day so that I can get myself back into balance and continue to care for myself through that.
I love that you do family dinners because I do family dinners too. And I grew up having family dinners and they're just so important where
Yeah.
everyone just sits down together at the end of the day and reconnects.
Yeah. Yeah. We try every single night to have dinner together as a family. I think it's super important. Um, and we don't have any phones. That's, we talk about the day, talk about what we're grateful for, do our little family devotional, and then playtime after dinner.
That's pretty much what we do. We started off when our daughter was little being like, "What was your favorite part of the day?" And now she's almost 5 and she's like, "I want to be the one in charge of what's your favorite part of the day." So she
Yeah.
goes and she asks everyone.
I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah. So as you're building your business, what are some struggles or obstacles you've encountered as a business owner or as a mom and a business owner?
Balance. Like that idea and that like constant struggle for balance and like trying to be really present and build your business and also trying to be really present and take care of my kids in the way that I want to, and also taking care of myself. I think that's probably the biggest struggle, is trying to like understand what days and what seasons are calling me for different things. Like sometimes I do get, a good chunk of time, or even, you know, days or weeks at a time where I can really focus on my business more. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I have to really shift gears and kind of put the business on the back burner and really be present for my kids. And I have to, during all of that, I feel like the biggest piece for me, everything that I've been through as a kid and all of the health stuff that I dealt with, something that I've learned over time is I have to take care of me first, no matter what. I can't show up for my kids the way I want to. I can't show up for my clients the way I want to if I'm not taking care of me. So that always has to be like number one priority. I have to, every day I meditate, I do my journaling, I read my Bible, I eat good, I exercise every day, I move my body. Like those are non-negotiables. I have to do those things in order for me to be able to balance life as good as possible.
Are you a morning person?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was a morning person. What time do you get up?
Right now it's the summertime, so like 6:30, but generally 5.
Oh, goodness. How do you do it? I'll set my alarm and I'll just keep pushing it back.
Yeah, I'm just used to it, and I love getting up before my kids are awake and doing all of my self-care stuff first. Like I love drinking coffee next to my fire when it's really quiet and the sun's not up, and I drink coffee and read my Bible and do my journaling, and then I go work out, and I'm usually done with all of that before they even wake up. And it just makes me feel like I can like take on anything.
I agree. There was a point before I had my second where I was waking up at 5:45 and getting my workout in before the first woke up. And it was awesome. I've fallen off the wagon.
Yeah, it's always like during the summer, I'm not as good as that at that, but that's because they don't have to be at school, and my calls
What?
didn't start until I got on with you today. So
And you're in northern Colorado. What time does it stay light till?
late. It's like the sun goes down right now, like 9:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've started to have it come back a little bit. It was a little after 9 and now I'm like, "Oh, it's like 8:40 and it's starting to get dark, but it's still the middle of summer."
Yeah. 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 You might be right. It might have just kind of really like recently started to turn the other way, but it's like 9 o'clock right now.
So do your kids go to bed when it's light out?
Yeah. They go to
Do
bed at 8:30.
do they complain like, "It's still light out?"
No, they might mention it, but no, they know it's
Yeah.
bedtime.
Yeah.
And I
I got
just I don't entertain that at all. It's like, yeah, and it's time for bed.
yeah, I mean, I have blackout shades for my kids, so I'm like, "Oh, we're shutting the shades
Yeah.
and it's bedtime."
Yeah.
Um, so I love how you said how you take care of yourself. My other question was, how do you recharge? So if you feel like all of that isn't enough because you've been doing so much, what might you do differently to recharge?
Mm, gosh, I love that question too. I meditation is something that I love. So like definitely meditation is one of my like go-tos. So if I feel like I'm still struggling, I might, take a break in the evening or tell my husband, take over the kids. I need to go, and I'll go upstairs and meditate for like 30 minutes. Also, my husband is like my favorite person in the world. So spending time with him is really like, I'll set up, his mom lives close by. So I'll ask her to take the kids for the night or for the day or something. And then just make some time for him and I, where we can either just stay home and do nothing or like go to dinner or do something fun. Just him and I. And that's usually enough. I love him so much. So it's like just so fun to just be with him.
I know. I said to my husband last night because he has his own business too. And our anniversary's on Thursday. And
Happy
normally
anniversary.
Thank you. Go out to dinner, but life is being crazy and we're getting ready to go on vacation. So I said to him, like, hey, the kids are in daycare on Thursday. Are you able to cut out and just do a lunch together instead? And he was like, yeah, yeah. So that's what love, that sort of flexibility that both of us have as entrepreneurs. And I love that your husband's an entrepreneur too. That's so cool.
Yeah. The flexibility, I feel like, is the best part of it. Just being able to create your own schedule and have that freedom. And like, I'm 100% virtual, so I can work from anywhere. Like we're going to Steamboat in September, and like we might go for a whole week, and I might just work while we're up there and hike in between,
That is awesome. I'm thinking about like everyday things we do as entrepreneurs that people can't do because they work a 9 to 5. I was laughing the other day because I had to go to Walmart during the weekend, and I normally don't go during the weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why
This
I
is
go at
the
like
worst. Yeah.
Monday at 10 o'clock when people are at work.
Yeah, because going on the weekend is like that's a nightmare. Or Costco. Have you been to
Yeah.
Costco on a weekend? Ugh.
Can't find a parking spot. The
No.
lines just wrap
Yeah.
around.
It's the
Yeah.
best part. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to switch on over to our 5 and 5. So these are our 5 rapid fire questions where the audience gets to learn a little bit more about you personally. So what does your ideal chill day look like?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Ideal chill day. Probably like waking up, without anything to do, no rush, drinking my coffee on the back porch, maybe going like to get a massage or a facial or something, like just, to take care of myself. And then a casual patio lunch somewhere beautiful that you can view the Rocky Mountains,
Love it.
and like maybe a hike afterwards, and then I don't know, a campfire or
Yes.
something like that.
I want to be there at that chill day.
Yeah,
What is your like backyard view?
the Rocky Mountains.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
we have a straight shot view we're about, I don't know, 10 miles from the base of the Rocky Mountains. So it's straight shot. It's beautiful. We can see Pikes Peak, which is the highest peak in the Rocky Mountain National Park.
That is awesome. What are you currently reading or listening to?
Oh, I'm listening to this book called Every Woman a Theologian that really is breaking down like all the biblical principles and talking about different books in the Bible. And it's really, really fascinating.
Okay. I mean, I don't really read that type of stuff. How thick is that book?
Well, I'm listening to it. I
Okay.
haven't seen it in person, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm about halfway through it, and I haven't been listening that long, so it's not too terribly long.
Yeah. Is that the sort of stuff you normally like to listen to, or are there other genres that you like to listen to as well?
I really love, obviously, anything health related. I love stuff about like spirituality and connecting to a higher power and connecting to your inner purpose and energy. And yeah, I don't really read like too many fiction books. I don't have time for that really.
Yeah.
It's all like health science or like
You're
spiritual.
always trying to learn.
Yeah, I do love learning.
Yeah. What's your favorite app or tool you use as an entrepreneur, a mom, or both?
My calendar. My calendar app that integrates with my email and my my husband's calendar, and like we've got everything. I live by my calendar for sure.
Is it the Gmail one, or do you use something else?
Yeah, it's just called Calendar, but it links to my Gmail and my Hotmail. So I think it's Calendar, but I have an iPhone, so it just shows up Calendar, but
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it links to my Gmail for sure. I think it might be the Google Calendar.
That's something that I definitely need to learn how to use.
Yeah, it's so great because my husband too, like we just work off the same calendar. So he puts all his stuff in, and like if there's, like I was saying, sometimes if I have to take a call like in the evening, I just check our calendar. And if he doesn't have anything scheduled, I'll block him off. So he knows he can't schedule anything because he has to be home at whatever, 2, 3, 4, because he has to take over the kids. So yeah, I love it. It's makes it so much easier to just function and live life.
Yeah, I gotta like take a crash course on that. I'm pretty good with stuff, but that not so much. And like 2 years ago, my husband ordered this big whiteboard calendar off of Amazon. So it's just like hanging over my shoulder on the other side. And that's where all our family stuff is, but definitely not helpful when we're on the go and we need to check the calendar.
Yeah, definitely use that Google Calendar. You can like subscribe. You can make him his own calendar for work, for personal, and then like I have like, I don't know, 10 different like calendars on that calendar. So it's like kids, my work, my personal, his personal, anything that I can think of.
Good. I'll put it on the list.
Childcare. I'll put like when we have like if the kids are with the babysitter or the kids are with grandma or whatever, like that way I know and him and I know like, okay, we have these hours that we can schedule work,
Yeah, it's on the list for me to do.
Yeah.
What's the song you blast the shit out of when being an entrepreneur mom is too much for you that day?
Oh, gosh, what's the song I blast? I
Do you
love
have a go-to song that you love to turn on?
I do. I mean, I'm trying to think. I love so many songs. Like I have my faves playlist on Spotify. So I'm like trying to think what's even on there. Like I love Lifehouse. Do you know Lifehouse, the band?
Yep.
I love Lifehouse. So like, but it's kind of like slowish, like, emotional rocker kind of music. So it's like not something that's like going to pump you up really. But I love worship music. I don't know. That's probably.
Yeah. So when I ask people this question, when I first came up with this question, I thought it would be a song that people are like, yeah, I'm going to rock out to. But typically it's like the emotional, like really deep, slower songs that people are giving me their answers of.
Yeah, I love Lifehouse. That's probably my favorite band. So something Lifehouse.
Yeah.
Or Atmosphere. That's actually like a rap group, but
I've never heard of them. What?
Yeah,
From
used to be
like
like
the 90s?
Yeah, like underground. It's my brother's like favorite group. Yeah, so it was like 90s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll have to pull a song up from them after this.
It's not kid friendly.
No kids are here at this moment. What's some advice you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom?
Just keep going. Keep going. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable because like it literally every single day I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. It's not about having it all figured out. It's just about doing it anyway and learning how to do it in spite of the fear because the fear never goes away. You just learn how to manage it better.
Yeah. There's like a new fear every day. Like every day throws a new curveball and you just roll with it. And like you said, you learn how to manage it.
Yeah. New level, new devil.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our podcast today. Thank you so much for coming on. If listeners wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to get in touch?
My website is holistichealthbymelissa.com or I'm at Holistic Health by Melissa on all social media. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome. And everyone, as always, I'm going to leave you with a quote. Don't stop until you're proud. I will see you all next episode.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.